Okay, I have a very nice, very chilled out practice plan for today because it's hot. So my goal is to stay nice and cool. Um, so I hope that works for you. Um, so let's start seated on the mat, and you can be seated cross-legged, or if you want to stretch out and air out the backs of your legs, maybe extend them. Give the shoulders a couple of rolls. Lengthen out through the spine and shut your eyes for a couple of breaths. Starting, just let the breath move deeply and evenly. Now I have a method of breathing that I use to help cool off. So I thought I'd show it now. Whether they use it now or at some point during the day. It has a Sanskrit name that I forget at the moment, but because I call it taco breath. And literally, you stick your tongue out and curl it up towards the center. So you're making like a straw with your tongue, and then breathe through that straw. Now you might find that cooling. It kind of cools the air before it gets into your body. So let's try this for a couple of breaths. If you're finding it's not working for you, you just want to return to a normal breath, then you can do that. Maybe breathing in and out through the mouth in this weather does help also cool the breath before it gets into the body. So just giving it a try. And then you can return to a normal breath. Couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, open your eyes. Let's reach the arms up overhead. Let the armpits air out. Take a breath. Spread the fingers wide and then interlace the fingers over your head. Bring the hands to the back of your head, just making like a little cradle, and then widen the elbows so you can't see them. You're squeezing the shoulder blades together. I'm actually going to bring myself into a cross-legged position now. Bring my feet in, and let's take a nice easy arc to the left. So dropping the left elbow towards the floor, lifting the right elbow, squeezing across the left side of the body, stretching across the right side. You can look up towards the ceiling if you like. And then let's inhale up and exhale the other way. Let's inhale up and exhale to the left again. This time you can release the bind of your fingers and bring your left hand down to the mat outside your left hip. Maybe you can increase the stretch a little bit more now that you've got some support from your left hand. Maybe bending into the elbow or walking the hand out further away from the hips. Keep rolling that right shoulder back and the right elbow up towards the sky. Maybe even a little bit behind you. Now, big breath in. And then as you exhale, turn your chest to face the floor and reach your right elbow towards your left elbow. I don't know how far it's going to make it, but you're really opening up across the shoulder blades, stretching across the length of the neck, the cervical spine. Now let's flow with this a little bit. Inhale to open, and exhale to round out. Inhale to open, and exhale to round out. Now as you inhale this time, come up, reach your right hand up, and bring yourself back up to an upright, tall spine. Hands are up overhead. Interlace the fingers again. Bring the hands to the back of your neck, just cradling your skull. Open the elbows, and let's arc to the right. You can bring your right hand down to the floor or the mat next to your right hip. You find a little bit deeper of a stretch. Roll the left shoulder back, the left elbow back. Maybe look up to the ceiling. Big breath. And then as we exhale, let's round down, turning the chest towards the floor and squeezing that left elbow in towards the right. A couple more times, flow with this. Inhale and exhale. So the hips are staying really stable down on the floor. Getting a lot out of this is shoulder action and a nice spinal twist, some movement with the breath. Let's do one more time. And then as you inhale, reach that right hand up. Come back up to sit. Maybe give the shoulders a couple of rolls here. And I want to make our way to a deer pose now. So I'm going to turn to face the front of my mat. And I'm going to have the left shin parallel with the front edge of my mat. And the right shin is going to come back so it's parallel with the, or mostly parallel with the long edge of my mat. So I have like two mostly 90-degree angles with my knees. And from here, so this is deer. It's called twisted deer. Often we fold forward over the front leg, but today I want to turn it into a bit of a back bend. So you can bring your hands behind your hips and roll the chest open, the shoulders back. Try and keep the shoulders down and away from the ears. You're just getting a nice stretch here, particularly across the front of this right hip. You might be feeling a stretch. If you're not, you can come down onto your forearms. And you can feel free to get blocks or a pillow or something under your forearms if you want to come down, but you don't want to come all the way to the floor. If your knees start to hurt or pop up, like you can't keep them, you can't rest them down, bring your chest up a little bit, like rise up a little bit in your upper body. So the head, you can keep your gaze forward and keep your chin tucked, or you can open your throat. Let your head fall back behind you. I like this pose in the heat because it's really open. Take a few more breaths. Now to come out of this pose, start by tucking your chin. Lift up onto your palms if you've been down on your elbows, and then come all the way back up. And I want to just take an easy twist here. So we're going to take all 10 fingers, bring them outside your left thigh, like along the long edge of your mat. twist the spine. That right hip might lift, that's fine. This feels good after that back bend. And then unwind from this and see if we can lift this right leg. Sweep your right foot all the way around and land it outside your left knee. Land the sole of the foot, the big toe mound of the foot, onto the mat. And then notice your right hip probably lifted. Settle that right hip back down onto the mat. And we'll take a twist in the other direction. So your left elbow can hug the right knee. Draw it a little further over to the left, even while you keep pressing that right hip down. Right hand can come behind your back. Roll the right shoulder back, look behind you. Let's unwind from this. Extend both legs down to the far corners of your mat. Maybe give them a little shake. Let the backs of your knees breathe a little bit. Time for a sip. Of course, I do have hot tea going even during my effort to be cool. And so now we're ready to do the other side. So bending the right knee, bringing the shin parallel to the front of the mat, or like mostly parallel. I want it to feel good, so you might need to do a little bit of exploring on your own to make this feel right. And then the left shin comes back parallel to the long edge of the mat. Hands can come behind your hips. You can lengthen up through the spine. And then if you're looking for a little bit more of a stretch particularly across the front of the left quadricep, the left thigh, and the left hip, you can come down onto your forearms. You might come off your mat a little bit. It's not a big deal. You can keep your chin tucked and your gaze forward, or you can open your throat. Stay here for about 5 more breaths. When you come out of it, tuck your chin, press up onto your palms, all of you come further back, lengthen up through the spine. Take this simple twist to the right, fingertips to the floor of the mat outside your right thigh. You can let your head drop, tuck your chin, maybe wobble your head around a little bit. And come back up. And then lifting the left foot and sweeping it all the way across the front of the mat to settle down outside your right thigh. And you might need your hands to grab that in, and that's totally okay. Whatever gets you there, right? So pressing the big toe mound of that foot in, and then settling your left hip down onto the mat. Right elbow can wrap around that left knee and sort of hold everything in place. Lengthen up through the spine. Left fingertips behind your hips. Just turn your chest to the left. Nice easy twist here. You can even bring your chin toward your left shoulder and keep rolling it back. And let's unwind from this. Unwind the legs. Give them a little shake. And then I want to come to a tabletop pose. So roll over your feet, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips to a tabletop pose. Let's do a couple of cat-cows here. Inhale to tip the tailbone up, drop the belly. Chest comes forward. Exhale to round. Nice calming, cooling poses here. Stretching across the front of the body on the inhale. And rounding, stretching across the back of the body on the exhale. If you like, you can add a little more height by coming up onto the fingertips as you round the spine. And then dropping down, curling the toes under as you drop the belly. A couple more times. Now from here, find a neutral pose. So the spine is somewhere between those two extremes that we were just practicing. And curl the toes under. And let's lift the hips up and back to a downward facing dog. Just letting the backs of the legs breathe now. You've been sort of sitting on them and bending into them. Maybe you want to pedal your feet out. Swing your hips around. Just any kind of gentle movement. It feels good. Then find some stillness. And let's actually stay here for 3 breaths in stillness. Letting the heels drop, lifting and spreading the sits bones. And your head hang heavy. And then walk your feet to the edge of your mat. So you're right at the edge of the mat. I've got the outer edge of my feet sort of hanging off the mat and the arch of my foot on the mat. My feet are still parallel to one another. And then let's walk hands back towards your feet. So you can come to a standing dangle. Hold opposite elbows, drop the crown of your head. And just be here. You can sway if you like, or be still. If you don't like the feeling of just dangling like this, you can drop your fingertips to the mat and let yourself be heavy. Just try not to push into your hands. Drop. Soften your knees. And roll all the way up to stand. Hands up, you can bring your fingertips up in a peace fingers. Prana mudra for energy. Hot, humid days like this tend to make us feel lethargic, so it's nice to add that bit of energy into our practice. You can step your feet in so they're about hip width apart. Bring your hands back next to your, behind your back at the base of your spine. Interlace the fingers and just knock your thumbs onto your low back and remind yourself to turn the tailbone down. Stabilize through the low back. Keep your chin tucked and begin to press your knuckles down towards the floor behind your heels. Opening up across the chest, the shoulders. If you like, you can play with lifting your pinky fingers a little bit. And then just start to practice pushing the knuckles towards the floor behind your heels and lifting the rib cage. So the low back, the neck stays stable. Like I still have my gaze forward, the chin's tucked. Finding this back bend right in the mid region of the spine. It's going to be a smaller back bend than if we let the low back, the neck get involved. We're really just opening up across the front of the body and finding a little bit of flexibility in a region of the spine that doesn't often happen. And then from here, let's soften the knees. Bring the crown of the head up and then over. So up and over and do a forward fold. Still have the bind of the hands here. Now you can keep this bind of your hands, or you can start to make some circles or figure eights with that fist, with that big fist you have there. If you don't like this, feel free to release your hands to the mat and just move back into a standing dangle. Fingertips to the mat now. Let's walk the hands forward. Coming back to tabletop pose. Unhook your toes here. And hips are going to stay over the knees while we make our way into a melting heart pose. So walking the hands forward. Coming to first like a down dog. It feels like down dog kind of, but you're on your knees. And then we can move into the melting heart portion where we just let the chest sink down towards the floor. Now you can bring your forehead to the floor, or maybe your chin. Or maybe if that's too much, you can put a pillow or a block underneath your forehead or your chest, or both, to get this sensation of melting, because we want to be able to relax here. Walk your hands in back underneath your shoulders to come back to a tabletop pose. And let's just move the hips and shoulders together, making some body circles. And you can make them as big or as small as you like. As fast or as slow as you like. Just moving easily. And then come in the other direction. And then when you're ready, back to tabletop. Cross the ankles and roll over your feet. And I want to come to to recline on our back with a pose called broken wing. It's broken wing with a reclined twist. And it's nice, again, for the shoulders. So I'm just going to turn my back so you can see me taking the right hand and bringing the right hand to the small of your back and turning the fingertips up towards your spine. So you're getting kind of a turn in the shoulder joint. Then from here, left hand can come on the mat behind you. You're just going to roll down onto your back, right to lie right down on that right arm. Try and lengthen out through the low back as much as you can. Maybe you can wiggle your right hand a little closer up towards your shoulder blades. Maybe you want to stay where you are. It's up to you. Left hand can slither in underneath the nape of your neck, the space between your neck and the mat, palms facing the body, and turn those fingertips down towards your shoulder blades. Your left arm is resting on the mat. Your left elbow is pointing out behind you, like past the crown of your head. So this is the broken wing. Maybe your fingertips are meeting. Maybe they're not. It doesn't matter. Just whatever. You want to come to a place where it feels good and you're getting a nice stretch in the shoulders. Now feet together, knees bent, soles of the feet are on the mat. And we can let the knees fall to the right. So now we have the broken wing with a reclined twist. So I like this pose. But if you're feeling like it's too much with the arms and the legs, take one out. Like decide what you want to do. If you want to have a reclined twist without this added shoulder stretch, go ahead and take your arms out and extend them out to the side. If you really like the arms, but you feel like the dropping your knees to the right is too much, then go ahead and pull your knees back up to center. It's up to you. It just started to rain. One of my absolute favorite things to do is practice yoga on my covered porch in the rain, so I'm pretty happy right now. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Knees up. Knees up. And then you can just roll to your left a little bit, release the right arm. Release the left hand. Maybe reach your fingertips straight up to the sky. Make a fist. Spread them wide. Spread your fingers wide. Do that a couple of times. Maybe you want to give a little shake to your arms. It's up to you. And then we do the other side. Now, I'm too lazy to get up and sit up to get my left hand underneath me. So I just roll onto the right side. Back of the hand to my low back. And then roll back onto that hand. If you want to get up to do it, if that's more comfortable for you, and you're not as lazy as I am, then go for it. The right hand comes in underneath the neck and slithers down towards the shoulder blades. Might have to move around a little bit till you get comfortable here. And then if you want to add the twist, knees drop to the left. Bring your right leg, bring your knees up to come out of this. Unwind the twist. Roll a little bit to your right, lift your left side so you can get that left hand out. The right hand comes out again, fist and open. Bring your feet together and let your knees fall wide. So you're coming to butterfly, reclined butterfly. Just let the knees be heavy. And then let your hands drop over your head. Back to your hands to the floor. Connect your thumb and your first finger. So that if I was looking at you from above, it would look like, you would look like 3 diamonds. A diamond with your legs, diamond with your arms, diamond with your hands. Now let's extend the left leg past the far corner, far bottom corner of your mat. The right leg past the far right corner of your mat. Extend the arms past the top corners of the mat. So now if I'm looking at you from above, you look like an X. I want to come to a pose, I call banana pose. Take your right ankle, so your left leg's going to stay still and your right ankle is going to come over your left ankle.
And then keeping your shoulders and your hips on the mat, just sweep the back of your hand along the floor over towards the left hand. And the left hand can take the right wrist and sort of stretch, almost like we're doing an arc, like at the beginning of practice. You can pop your shoulders over to the left a little bit. So hands and feet are left, hips are right. Both shoulder blades are on the mat. Back of both hips is on the mat. Take a big breath in, maybe 3 big breaths in, and feel that right side rib cage expand. And then we can release from that. Bring your right hand back to its side of the mat. Maybe straighten out your spine if you popped your shoulders over to the left. And then bring your right foot back to its spot on the mat. And then we'll do the other way. So bring your left ankle over your right ankle. Sweep along the floor the back of your left hand to your right hand. Right hand can take the left wrist, draw it over. Maybe you're going to bring your shoulders a little over to the right to help this stretch. Hips and shoulders down on the mat, stretching into the left side of the body. Really getting a stretch like through the entire left side of the body. And one more breath. And then let's make our way back to that big X pose. The left foot comes back to the left corner of the mat. Lengthen out your spine. Hands reach overhead. Backs of the hands resting on the mat. And Savasana. If there's any movement here that you'd like to take that brings you into a deeper sense of relaxation, go ahead and do that. You might want to return to that taco breath, or that cooling breath, where you make your tongue into a straw. So when you're ready to begin moving again, start to make little movements through your hands and feet, your arms and legs. And even if you're really eager to get up now, just take it easy as you're moving. Be aware of like keeping the energy nice and calm so that you can stay cool. Find a big overhead stretch. And then you can bring the knees in. Maybe just a light cup of the hands over the kneecaps. Make some circles. Or sway side to side. From here you can find your way up to sit, either by rolling into the fetal position, taking a couple of breaths, and then finding your way out. Or if you like, you can hold the backs of your thighs, tuck your chin, and come all the way up to sit. Finding a comfortable seat. Maybe you're cross-legged, maybe it's something else.
Let's inhale the hands up one more time. And as we exhale, thumbs to the third eye, and we'll hinge forward. Here's our final pose for today. And I thank you for being here with me. Namaste.